Hey Explorers, it's your adventure podcast hostess with the mostest, Katie Staples. I'm going to share my travel stories, tips, and tricks for exploring and creating unforgettable experiences and memories. Find me on Instagram at the.great.escape.podcast so you can follow along and I can hear from you. Today we're chatting with my friend Marki all about a couple of her trips to Thailand. We're calling this the Thailand trials, tribulations, and troubles. Okay, so Marky and I met a couple years ago during COVID, right? Through friends.
Mhm.
And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I am an Atlanta native, one of the few, one of the proud. And I moved all over the country, though, and a magnet sucked me back in. I've tried to move out like 5 different times. And for whatever reason, I just kept getting sucked back in. So I gave in, and now I just live in Atlanta.
Awesome.
And I work for a company called Delta Defense. We are the service provider for the United States Concealed Carry Association. And I am recently licensed as a firearms instructor.
That's
So
awesome.
lots of fun stuff. I cover
Yes.
7 states, so I travel a lot. And I earn a lot of
Yes.
miles and a lot of sky miles and a lot of points and hotel stays and all of that. So yeah.
Yeah, such a badass thing because I saw recently when you were doing one of your classes, I was like, let's go, girl. Okay. All
Yeah.
right, sweet. So tell us about these Thailand trips that you were on. When were they? What brought you over to Thailand? Give us like the backstory.
Sure. So the first time it was my quarter life crisis, and I was dating a guy for a few years. I had a cat going into the relationship. I asked if he wanted a baby. He said no. I got another cat. I asked if he had a baby, wanted a baby again, and he said no. I got a dog. And then the last one, after I had all of that, I asked again, and he was like no. And I was like, well, I'm just going to go to Thailand for like 4 months. Are you cool with that? And he was like, yeah. What else is he going to say? You can't say no to this face. So I planned a trip. I have a friend who lives half the year in Alaska and half the year over in Thailand. He owned at the time what he called a hotel and I called a hostel. It was a lot of fun though. But I traveled by myself. So we were not on the same travel schedule at all. So first big, transatlantic trip that I'd ever taken, and it was all by myself. So when I got over there, I knew just enough Thai to be dangerous, and I knew just enough to get around with someone who didn't speak any English and only spoke Thai because I had a tour guide for the first day. So after that, after the first day, we ended up going from Bangkok down the peninsula. And then when we went down the peninsula, we took a ferry over to the islands. And Koh Samui, I visited there for like a day or two. And then Copenhagen is where I spent the majority of my time. And that is where this first story comes from.
Okay, awesome. And how old are you during this first big trip by yourself?
I don't know. I'm not good with ages or math, but it was 2016. So I'm 40 now. So what
Okay.
would that make me?
2016 to 20, yeah, 31.
31. See what
Okay.
I mean? So I was
Okay.
31.
31 years old, Thailand by yourself pretty much after the one day. How did you start to learn Thai though? Like that is not a language I hear people say often.
I mean, all online. And now that I think about it, I think I was 29 because I think it was 2014. Anywho, doesn't really matter. But yeah, I learned it all online. So there are a lot of resources that people have. Duolingo is a really popular language learning software. I use that to learn more Spanish and French, but they don't have Thai. So it was something, I think it was just called Thai Talks or Thai something.
Okay. Okay, sweet. Yeah, you don't hear people saying, "Oh yeah, I spoke some Thai conversationally."
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So you have a tour guide that takes you from Bangkok down the peninsula. You take the ferry, and then tell us about this first trip.
I had a room by myself, and the deal is I was allowed to stay there for free because I was helping out with some of their like marketing and stuff. So Facebook, social media, that kind of thing. And being in your 20s, that's like your forte. I was like, this is all I have to do. Like, sweet. So I ended up going over there. Every day I woke up on a beach. It was beautiful. There were so many wild things about that trip. Like there was right next to the place I was staying was this house that was shaped like a mushroom. And this guy named Charlie lived there. And he was like this retired psychiatrist. And some of the stuff he would say was wild. So, and we did Thanksgiving there. We had all the expats. We all went to the store and made the most Thanksgiving like Thanksgiving you can make in Thailand. There were like 15 of us. But yeah, it was just a whole bunch of fun. Like whole bunch of fun. And then there was this place called Amsterdam Bar that I went up and watched the sunset every day on this huge hill. So it was quite the experience for sure.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
And this is for 4 months, right? By yourself.
That was the plan originally, was for 4.5 months. I did not make it that long. I did get homesick. I made it about 6 weeks before I decided to get up and really come back home. But it ended up being about 6 weeks. The original plan kind of failed, but I would say it was still a successful trip by myself.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and so tell us about these trials and tribulations.
So, whenever you're traveling in a foreign country, it is always good to, try and live like the locals. And so that's what I did, right? Immerse myself. And in doing so, I rented a scooter and everything was going fine. I got comfortable on it. And then I went to a jungle party. And during this jungle party, there were libations that were partaken in. And when I went to go back, there was another person who was there from Alaska. His name was Caleb, and he was a fighter. And he decided to go back around the same time I did. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. We can ride together. Riding together turned into racing each other. And because it was late at night, no one else was out on the road. So we thought, oh, this is fun. We're fine. Me and my dumbass, I went too fast and I missed the resort. I'm like, no, the resort's here. So I had to turn around at like on this road where it had previously been raining and we were kind of dancing in the rain, having like a whole Thailand vibe. And so I had to turn around as he's turning into the resort, and I realized I've gone too far. And when I went like this, the whole scooter went like that. And so right here, like the meat of my arm just goes slice on the road, and I fell in a puddle and I scraped my knee.
The worst part is you fell in the puddle.
And so I had to go to a Thai hospital the next day. And I was terrified because I thought I was going to get some disease or have to take weird drugs. Girl, they got the same stuff for a bunch cheaper than we do here. Like, it was totally fine. I bandaged myself up. They said they saw that stuff all the time from us lovely Americans and Europeans. And then I ended up going to the pharmacy, and like it was like $4 for all the medications I needed. It was like nothing. So I made a big thing out of nothing. The worst part of it was dealing with the scooter damages. So
Oh, okay. So are you renting this like long term or was it just like a
I was
day
renting it for
thing?
the whole time I was there. So yeah, it was like so many baht per day. At the time, it was actually still the same as when I went back to Thailand 2 years ago. And there were the exchange rate was 35 baht to one US dollar. So I don't remember how many thousand baht it was to rent it total, but it was a few dollars a day. It was nominal. Like it
Sure.
was super cheap, but it meant that you had your own transportation you were in charge of, which is really when you're in a foreign country what you really want. You want to be in charge of where you go and where and what you're doing, because before I rented it, I had gone to a full moon party and I had taken a like where they put like all the people in the back of the truck, they have the little benches on the sides. And this lady, she didn't like me when I was coming back. And so she wouldn't let me back in the back of the truck. I was like, I have the wristband. I have the wristband because they gave you a specific one. And so I ended up hopping in the back of a stranger's truck and he just dropped me off. Girl, I should have died like 12 times by now. Every time I tell a story like this, I'm like, how did I survive my 20s? Like, how did I
Right.
not get kidnapped in a foreign country? Like, I don't even know.
I have also hitchhiked with strangers in Belize, but sometimes you just get a vibe of safety, right? Okay, so you just jumped in the
Or
back of a
delusion.
stranger's truck. Love it. Okay, so I'm hearing jungle parties, I'm hearing full moon parties. I now have this FOMO and need to go to to Thailand. Okay, so we have not only been left behind by a reliable source of transportation, in our minds, a reliable source of transportation. We also got in a scooter accident. And then what was you said there was a second little accident that happened.
Yes. So on my second trip to Thailand, which was this is 2025, so it's 2023 in November. I've always gone in November, December, so that's like been the vibe.
Is that the
Um,
best time of year to visit Thailand, like weather-wise or something?
well, the second time was it's actually during the rainy season. It's during the off season. I'm not a big on season kind of person. The second time was for a birthday party, so I didn't have control of the timing over that one. The first one, I mean, do you really have like timing control over a quarter life crisis? I don't know. I don't know. In time, yes, we went over for 3 weeks and we did Singapore, Thailand, and Bali. Those were the three. And in Thailand is where we spent almost 2 weeks of that time. We did more than I had done the first time, but also like different stuff. So we started off in Bangkok. We went up to Chiang Mai, and then we went down to Phuket and to Krabi. So four different places in Thailand. So that was the majority of our stay. We went to Singapore for a few days. I wasn't really a fan of Singapore. And then Bali was amazing. But yeah, I went over to Thailand for the second time. And this happened down in Krabi. So I learned from my scooter accident the last time. I did not rent one myself, but I did get on the back of my friends who had gotten like the bigger version of one, like not the smaller one. And hindsight is 2020. I should have asked more questions. I really should have, like, hey, have you ever driven a scooter before? Like, that would have been a good first question.
It would have
I
been a
did
good
not.
only
I just went
question,
off of, oh, they rented
honestly.
this, that they know what they're doing. And we thought it was only like 10 minutes away where we were going. It was more like 30 minutes. And there was a point where one of the people in our group actually got in an accident and like turned on their side. Not bad, but like scraped up their ankle. We didn't even know. We were just like, where's our friend? And she's like way back there, and she catches up and she looks like she's been crying. And I was like, oh no, that's not good. And then right after that, the person that I was on the scooter with, we were going into oncoming traffic. So it's like going this way up this like hill, and we're trying to get this way to go over there. He forgets that he had to be on the left side of the road and not the right side of the road. And I guess his brain, by the time he realized it, went straight into this truck. Yeah,
You're on
girl.
the back of a
Mm-hmm,
scooter.
mm-hmm.
Like we're not even talking like a major motorcycle or something. A little. Okay.
Yeah,
And your friend goes head on into a truck.
right into. So there was like this box truck, but like the open kind, and so it's raised up. And the scooter, he goes right under the bed of the truck, and I go flying off the back. And when I tell you from the impact, my little leggies were so swollen. They were this, my calves were the size of my thighs. But I didn't have to go to the hospital or anything. Like I was fine. They asked me to like, if I wanted to be checked out because like when I say we wrecked right by the hospital, we were here. I could see the hospital right here. Like I could see it. We,
Convenience.
yeah. Yeah. Because my friend ended up having to have surgery. Like if this is his crotch, this is his thigh. He like right here sliced it open. It was like 8 inches long. And I could
That's like
see his
fatal
fat
a
and I
lot
could
of
see his
times.
muscle. Like I could see all of it because I was right there, I could see all of it. The scooter sliced him and he had to go get stitches on the inside for his muscle and the outside for his skin.
Like that's fatal if you hit that artery.
Yeah, he was real close to his femoral artery, like super close. Yeah.
Okay, so note to the Americans listening, no scooters. No scooters in Thailand. What happens to the scooters? And like the first one, when you fell, was the scooter okay? Like how much
Yeah,
was
scooter had like a scratch on it. Like it wasn't a big thing. They try to make it out to be a bigger thing than it was, but you just pay them money and they're fine. The next one though was totaled. So I think he had to pay for the scooter and the hospital bill. The hospital bill, I think all told, it was somewhere between 6 and 8 grand for him for the scooter and for the hospital bill. Yeah.
So what happened to the truck? Was the driver mad? Was the truck damaged?
No, they were super concerned. They see this stuff happen all the time. People from the road, from the neighboring restaurants, were coming over and checking us and rerouting traffic. Like, they were amazing. When I tell you, the people of Thailand are some of the nicest people you've ever met. Like, this one lady, I had on shorts, like, and I was skinned up, like, and so she was like bringing me like a cloth to sit on. Like, when I tell you, the people of Thailand are so sweet. And, all the rest of our friends were just kind of like in shock, right? Because that's not something you expect to see your friends like fat and muscle hanging out with you on the side of the road.
Were you wearing helmets?
I want to say yes. Yeah. I want to say we were, because our helmets hit and then he got a concussion from it.
We have the two accidents. We have getting left behind by this lady that didn't like you. What were some of the other fun Thailand adventures that you got into?
So there was a lot of fun that we had as well. I will say that one of my favorite things to do in Bangkok was honestly just walk around. My friends did a walking tour that they went to a few temples. I kind of went off on my own and I literally had so much fun. I went to, I think it was like 10 temples in one day. I got food from this little vendor who was outside of a building. She just had this itty bitty little thing she was cooking on this little walk, and it was delicious. I had some pad thai from her. Then I got fresh mangoes off the side of the road from another vendor. I took a ferry ride up and down the river, and I went to the palace. I walked outside of it because I'd been in it before. So I just kind of walked up to it and went over to another temple. It was a blast. The markets there smell like a mix between New York City and New Orleans. Lots of things going on in your brain. It's very fishy, it's very pungent, but everybody is so super nice and you can buy anything you want for super cheap. It's just really fun. Street food is my favorite. I don't like to eat in the like Americanized restaurants. I like to just eat off the street because it is so fresh. It is made right in front of you. It's so inexpensive. It is perfect. And you get to interact with people a lot more doing that. Also, they want you to haggle. So shopping on Kosan Road was one of my favorites. And they will literally look at you and they give you the price like, "Hmm?"
Okay, so wait, go back to the street food real quick because I agree. I love the whole get the actual experience of the location. However, is it safe to do that? And the reason I ask is because I know someone that got very sick. I believe he was in Nepal, got very sick. He thinks it's from street food that maybe just had reached the bad temperature, whatever.
I never had any issues. I do have like an iron stomach. I don't have any real allergies or anything. But I also know what I'm seeing them cook. So I'm not going to do anything with eggs. I'm not going to, because I'm not a big egg fan. I'm going to make sure that the meat is cooked all the way through, like those kinds of things. And I stick to a lot of like fruits and vegetables, which I feel like the ones that you are familiar with, right? Which I eat a lot of Thai food on a regular basis here. And it's very similar to the Thai food in Thailand. So you notice what you're eating and you can pick out what ingredients visually that you can see so you can be safe with what you're eating. But I never had any issues.
Okay. Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. I'm glad. Okay, and then go back to they like to haggle. So
Yes.
that kind of is surprising to me.
Yeah. So it's very similar to what people say about India, which I haven't been, but I know friends who live in India. And so they'll give you a price for something, for a good or an article of clothing or some food. Food, not so much. I didn't haggle with the food. I just paid them what it said straight up. The wares though, and all of the little trinkets that they have, you will they'll want you to like haggle. They'll give you this big inflated price, but then you can get them down to something around here. So it was nerve wracking for me at first because that's not something I'm accustomed to, right? If it says it on the sticker in America, that's what you gonna pay plus tax, you know? It was a very different experience going there and them wanting you to interact and haggle because you can also negotiate to buy more. So a lot of things I bought multiples in, and I would end up paying close to the first price for one item for multiple. So that was a really fun experience. I got a lot of stuff when I was in Thailand. The first time I just brought one camping backpack. That was it for the whole time I was going to be there. I bought all my clothes and I bought all the things that I would need there because my friend who had the place there, he was like, "Oh, you can get everything you need here." The one dumb thing I did is I took my nails off that I have because I thought, "Oh, they're not going to be able to do them in Thailand." Come on. Like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? And then I was going without them and I felt so naked on my little fingies.
What would you say are the most common touristy like things that they bring back, gifts and souvenirs?
That's a good question. I haven't thought about that. I collect magnets. So I always get magnets everywhere I go. And I would say that the biggest thing that other people were getting, clothes was a big thing. When I went over again with the second trip, the girls were doing a lot of shopping. They were buying hats, they were buying clothes, they were buying shoes. Some of them bought because there's a lot of knockoff stuff there that is very inexpensive. And because everything is less expensive there, you can get anything you want for cheap. The little trinkets and stuff that they sell on the side of the road, those were also really popular. I always get those for my friends. So I love the little trinkets, whether it's like bracelets or necklaces or the little figurines.
Will you tell me more about the temples? So I've never been to Asia, and one of the things I'm really excited about when I do like Japan, Thailand, things like that is going to, you said the palace and the temple. So talk to us about that. How old are they? Are they still used for certain things? I'm curious.
With the temples, most of them have some kind of a donation that you do to enter. Some of them are very large, so we're talking like mega large. Some of them are very grand and ornate. The first time I went, I actually saw a monk sitting cross-legged, and he was taking little quarter-inch pieces of actual gold and putting it on one by one onto the walls inside the temple. Wildly ornate. And that is the palace in Bangkok. That's the actual king's palace where the king lives. So that was super dope. And all of the buildings there in that palace grounds have gems like emeralds, rubies, sapphires, like you name it, on the outside of these buildings. And it is wildly ornate. So very, very cool. And then you have in Bali, a lot of the temples are more of an outdoor jungle kind of feel to them because that's what they're surrounded by. So Bali is also the land of a million temples, and it's because every single house will have a temple. Sometimes individual rooms will have a temple. If there's a bathroom house, they'll have a temple. Like they have temples everywhere. So it's not just the big grand ornate ones everyone thinks about. Every single house and every single building will have its own temple.
You said that you went to like 10 temples in one day when you went to Bangkok. So they're just, or were they walkable? Did you take your scooter?
I walked. I walked. I didn't have a scooter then in Bangkok, so I walked. I think it was 12 miles in one day. I was just on a roll. Yeah, like because you're just constantly moving, you know. So it's not like it even feels like it was 12 miles. And girl, I had on flip flops. Like it was not even walking shoes. I actually have the shoes here. Hold on one second. I'll grab them. This is the shoe that I was wearing. Like I'm not even kidding. This was it. Like foam bottom. Like you can see how dirty they are. That's from Thailand. That's it right there.
They actually
Yeah.
don't even look all that dirty, honestly. Okay, so if you knew that someone was going to be going to Thailand, what would be the suggestions for what to pack, logistics, things like that? And then what would be the must-see places?
Oh, great question. So the must-see places, I would say it depends on your vibe. If you're a beach person, the islands, hands down. Copenhagen is the most popular. Koh Samui is more expensive. Koh has had some issues with mafia presence and with people not having the best time, so don't recommend there. I would say that the islands are amazing for sure. Phuket and Krabi are more touristy destinations, so they're going to be a little bit more on the expensive side as well. And I would say that it depends on where you stay in those places. I did see a lot of elephants chained up in those places, so I wasn't really a huge fan of that. I did a video on it when I was there, just about how pissed I was. And in Chiang Mai, I did not go to the elephant sanctuary because when all my friends came back, like I just didn't. You know what people put in a brochure, but you don't know what actually happens behind closed doors. And I didn't want to accidentally support animal cruelty. So all my friends came back and they all had this great time. And then I was like, so what happened? And they told me that they fed the elephants bananas to make friends with the elephants. And then they went into this water where the elephants were literally shitting the whole time in the water because the bananas were diuretic. And I was like, wait, so that was your elephant experience? I was really glad I didn't go after that. So, some people have a mixed review of the elephant vibes, but I'm glad I didn't participate in that. And I would say in Bangkok, just go walk around. I feel safe everywhere I go because I am disillusioned. But I I felt very safe walking around. The Thai people are super super nice. I would say you can do some research on what roads to go on. So I stayed right in the heart of Bangkok. I walked to a lot of the different temples. I walked to because I was right by the train, so you can take the train. Very inexpensive. You can take that to get to certain points in the city, so you don't have to walk. I did that some as well. And then I would say, as far as the other places to go, I really liked going from Bangkok down the peninsula because we stayed in the jungle and we saw this I forget what it's called, but there were like five waterfalls and it's this tourist attraction you can go to. It was super fun.
I've seen it on Instagram. Okay.
Yep, been there. Yep, it was as awesome as Instagram says it is, which a lot of places are not whenever you're traveling. The other thing that we did on the second one, and I want to say this was in Bali, were the rice fields, but they have them everywhere. We also did the cat poop coffee. We went on a tour of that. Have you ever seen that?
No. What I'm sorry, what words did you just say?
Cat poop coffee.
That's what I thought. Okay, tell us more.
You did not mishear me. It's not a cat, but it's like a small, I don't remember what kind of creature it was, but in my mind, it's like a cat. And so I went to this coffee plantation, and on the coffee plantation, there's these specific beans that are eaten by these specific animals. Those animals poop them out, and then they are processed into coffee. So it is a very old, very ancient method, but something in the digestive system breaks down the husk of the bean. And so, similar to how we would process it to get it off, the animal does it for them. And so then they collect these. So they have people who go around collecting animal poop. And there's a version of this. The most expensive coffee in the world is when elephants do this. So this is the second most expensive coffee in the world, apparently. Who knew? I got a lot of it for presents. When I told you I got weird stuff, this was one of the ones. This was one of the ones. Yeah. So, and I tried it and it was actually good, which is wild when you think of that.
How expensive?
It wasn't actually that expensive. I think a lot of stuff when you see that it's based off of, if it were sold here in America, but I don't remember. It was anywhere from like 10, 18, somewhere in there dollars for like a little thing of it like that big. So not super expensive, but like not like Starbucks cheap or anything like that.
Right. What would be something you would suggest people not do, either before the trip or during the trip? What would you say, hey, stay away from this?
Pre-booking your excursions because it depends on when you go, right? As to what's available. Rainy season, dry season, they have different attractions. And if you're going during the rainy season and you book something, whenever you pay through a travel agent, you're going to pay more because you can't haggle, right? And then that's a lot of their culture. So if you are not able to negotiate the price, which travel agents don't do, you're going to be charged the American price. When you go there, it's a lot cheaper to do things. The only time this is something that you may want to do and pay the larger prices is if you have a larger party. Like the first time I went, I didn't book anything beforehand. I just went willy nilly and went by the grace of, the universe. Like, tell me what to do today. And then the second time, the birthday girl that I went with, she's a super planner. So every single day was mapped out. Every single excursion was mapped out. There were spreadsheets involved. She's a very, yes, she like multiple spreadsheets. Like she's super, super organized. And every day there was something. And so it was a much different trip than when I had gone by myself. And I can appreciate both, right? She did a ton of work to get it to that point, whereas I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. That's just,
I love it. If there was like any other story or tip or just anything else you wanted to say about Thailand, what would it be to the people?
I would say go. I mean, just go. You, when you go, you need to do at least a minimum of a week because it is a 24-hour travel day there and 24-hour travel day back. So that would give you 5 days there. So, which sounds daunting, but really your excitement either way, you're excited to get there. You're excited to get back and share all your stories. But for some people, that may be a huge deal that they want to plan for because some people want a day after they get back to recover. If you're a 1 day recovery person, you need two from that trip because you're dealing with a 12-hour time change. So night is day and day is night. It can be a lot for some people's brain to deal with. I just slept the entire day when I got back to reset my like clock. But if you're a normal 1 day person recovery, I would say two for that kind of a long trip. And then you have an opportunity to do things in between your stops, right? So we stopped in UAE. We had a stopover there, which is a super cool airport in Qatar. So they have like these little sleeping pods and it's like super chill. There's things that you can do on the way. Certain airports, you can make sure you book your flights to stop at. So you can really get multiple trips in one. So if you have 3 weeks, you could do a lot with that, right? The other tips that I have are don't bring so much stuff. And I know that sounds crazy because we all want to bring our lives with us, but the more room you leave in your bag, the more you can leave with from there. So I would say bring minimal outfits. Remember that you can buy clothes everywhere you go. And then you'll want stuff to bring back anyways. So leave room in your bag. Do not do the push to close zip on this trip. It's too much. And then bring minimal shoes because you really don't need as many shoes as you think you need. You don't need heels. You don't need, unless you're going like super hiking, you don't need boots. I mean, remember, this got me
12
12
miles.
miles in Bangkok. So this is all you need, I swear. So make sure you have comfy shoes. Make sure you have, whatever's going to make you feel comfortable, right? But also be aware that some of the plugs are different. So you may need an adapter depending on where you're traveling to. I didn't really run into that as much in Asia, but it's always a good travel tip is just to bring a converter with you, which I just have one. It's smaller, it just converts 2 prong to 3 prong to the European one. I recommend getting one of those whenever you're traveling internationally. Because even in the airport, sometimes you can't find the 2 prong. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I love that we started with the trials and tribulations and then got to the other tips. So it's
Yeah.
the Thailand tips, trials, and tribulations.
Right. Yeah.
I love it. Cool. Thanks, Marky.
Yeah.
Do you want to share like how can the people find you?
Yeah, sure. So I am on Instagram. My name is just as goofy as my personality. So if you type in omg.a.person.actually, whenever I like a photo of yours, it says, "Oh my God, a person actually liked your photo." That's the notification.
And then is that where they can find some of the Thailand stuff as well as whatever other cool things you're up to now?
Yes, yeah, that is definitely the place. I do have a LinkedIn as well for business stuff. So if anyone is in the southern states of Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, or North Carolina and wants to talk about firearms training or become a partner of ours, then you can find me on LinkedIn as Delta Marki.
I love it. Thank you. That's all for our Thailand trials, tribulations, and tips. have you been? What were your favorite things? I would love to hear from you. Find me on Instagram at the.great.escape.podcast and send me a message. And don't forget to hit subscribe so that you can follow along and dream big for your journeys on the Great Escape. See you next time, adventurers.